Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American brews and tunes. Shibbity beeby dow.
Where are you?
And I'm so sorry.
Tom DeLonge.
Yeah, time to talk about Tom DeLonge.
DeLonge
30
at
minutes.
last.
DeLonge at last. Time to talk about Tom DeLonge for 30 minutes, guys.
For 30 minutes of just
For
Tom
30
DeLonge.
minutes straight. Just Tom DeLonge, nobody else.
He was born in California. No. This is American Brews and Tunes. My
That's
name is
right.
Stephen Johnston.
My name is Jesse Titus.
And this is episode 99.
Oh my gosh.
It's a repeating number, so we're going to do a repeating person that we reviewed his albums before.
Yes, we have reviewed Blink-182 albums before.
Yeah.
So now we're going to take a little step in a different direction. Not that much of a different direction, but a slightly different direction.
I had reviewed this album for you to listen to, which is...
Which is the album Boxcar Racer by the band Boxcar Racer.
Very nice.
Yeah, but before we get to that album and Tom DeLonge, we're going to try a beer called Raspberry Tart Ale by Troegs.
Troegs. I really enjoy Troegs.
Troegs is really good, yeah.
I can't remember if we reviewed any Troegs on this podcast. I don't think we have.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Anyways, they're a good brewery from Hershey, PA.
Hershey, PA.
You can go get chocolate, you can go to the theme park, or you can go to the brewery.
Should probably go to the brewery.
I've been to the theme park, but the last time I was in Hershey, PA was for a Blink-182 concert.
Oh, yeah.
And we went to the brewery beforehand. It was great. It had a massive tap room and just a bunch of good food and good beers.
Hershey, PA. That's closer to Harrisburg, right?
Yeah,
in the
it's kind of
center
like
of the state?
It's central PA, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But I know you've had the Mad Elf before.
Yes, I have
which
the
is
Mad Elf, yeah.
It's a Belgian strong ale with
Isn't it like
chocolate
a Christmas?
and cherry.
It's a Christmas
Yes.
beer, technically.
But I had the Naked Elf at the brewery.
Scandalous.
And it was still the Belgian strong ale, but no cherries, no chocolate, no spices.
It was naked.
Just the Belgian. And it stood on its own.
It did?
It bared it all.
Without all the bells and whistles?
Without any of the elf clothes.
Without any of the bars of chocolate or round cherries?
Yeah, none of that business. But anyways, this is the Raspberry Tart Ale, like Jesse said. It says ale brewed with raspberries, sea salt, and coriander. Ooh.
That sounds like a recipe for success to me.
Now, there's some interesting stuff on here. It says that there is lactobacillus in house yeast on here. So lactobacillus is the bacteria that will kind of make a funky beer, like a sour.
Yes.
Can sometimes be unpredictable. But, whatever happens will happen when they use it. This clocks in at 4.5% alcohol, and there's a nice little description. It says here, tart red raspberries are the star of this refreshing show. At first fermentation with lactobacillus gives this beer its pucker. Then a second pass with our house ale yeast produces soft, fruity esters. Whatever that means.
Esters, yeah. Like what's the definition of an ester? It's a...
I think she was in the Bible.
Well, yeah, there is that. But it's like a... isn't it kind of like a fume, like a perfume type?
Probably.
Is that what it is?
While you look that up, I'll continue to read.
It's E-S-T-E-R, right?
Yes.
Not Esther.
Yes, just a very simple esters.
You know, there's an American singer-songwriter named Esther Dean.
Esther Latte?
No,
Latte?
no, Esther Dean.
Isn't that something?
I don't know who that is, but hey, shout out Esther Dean.
Shout out
the same name as
Esther Dean.
Ester is a chemical compound derived from acid. All right, go ahead and read.
All right. It also says a hint of Himalayan pink salt amplifies the flavor of tart raspberry jam, and coriander adds delicate notes of wildflowers. I love coriander.
I got it. Here it is. Esters with low molecular weight are commonly used as fragrances and found in essential oils and pheromones, apparently.
Pheromones, like bee pheromones?
Yeah, thank you, Wikipedia. The word ester was coined in 1848 by a German chemist, Leopold Gmelin,
Leopold
probably
is a weird
as
name.
a contradiction to the German Essigether. Acidic, whatever. Anyway, I was right. It's like a fume, like a perfume, or it's used in perfume.
I accidentally poured out the beer very poorly for Jesse, and it's really heady
Yeah, you
over
did.
there. Sorry.
So shout out to me for being right about what ester is.
Yes, shout out to you. I am excited about the coriander. When I think of coriander and beer, I think Blue Moon.
Yes.
Because
Well, I just think of herbalness, like very very earthy and grassy, with a little bit of that tart fruit flavor.
coriander's great.
So I'm
Have
excited
you ever
to
smelled
try this.
coriander? Like just straight coriander?
Have I ever smelled the ester of coriander? No.
I guess. Ester. Just say the essence. That's a better word. The ester. Oh, man.
No, I don't think I have.
Beer is a little hazy. You can't see 100% through it, but light will shine through clearly.
Yeah.
It is. What would you say for that color? It's interesting, like a grapefruit almost.
Kind of like
pink grapefruit.
a mix between an orange and red gummy bear. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well,
Because gummy bears are
when
kind
I
of translucent.
think of what you just said, orange and a pink gummy bear, it makes me think of pink grapefruit. So I think we're on the same page.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, like the skin of the grapefruit.
I definitely smell coriander in here.
Do you?
Oh yeah. And I get a tart smell.
I definitely smell tartness. That's for sure.
I get the tart. I'm not maybe the raspberry. I'm not really getting that 100%, but I get the coriander and the tart smell.
It smells good.
It does.
And this is the perfect beer to have on a hot summer day.
Agreed.
At least it smells like it's going to be.
Clocking in at 4.5%, you can have quite a few of these when you're sitting on your rocking chair yelling at children.
Hey, you're sitting on your rocking chair.
Get off of my lawn, you whippersnappers!
Get off of my lawn, Dennis the Menace.
It's the menace.
You crazy son.
I love
Get
that
off
movie
my
with
lawn.
who plays his neighbor.
I've never seen that movie.
What?
Is it it's the live action one, right?
Yeah.
Not the cartoon.
Well, Christopher Lloyd is in it. He plays a hobo. And Walter Matthau plays his neighbor.
Really? Walter Matthau does? Okay.
The grumpy neighbor who's always like, Dennis, you menace.
What is Walter Matthau is in a TV show as well, right? Isn't he?
He's in Grumpy Old Men because he is a grumpy old man. He's been in a ton. Is he still alive?
I don't know. I'm looking him up right now.
I want to say
Walter
he's
Matthau.
still alive.
Nope. He died in 2000.
Oh,
So 20 years ago.
I was very incorrect about that.
Let me see. Oh, he was in The Odd Couple.
That's a very famous TV show.
Grumpy Old Men, Grumpier Old Men, Dennis the Menace, The Bad News Bears.
Oh, that's right. The original Bad News Bears, he was the coach.
Yes.
He was like a lot of people say, no, Billy Bob Thornton was a coach. Yeah, he was in the remake.
And the new one, you foolish people who don't know their remakes.
Idiots.
I must be thinking of someone different.
Probably.
Specifically, I thought he was in Matlock. I thought he was Matlock.
No,
But that's someone different.
That's someone different whom I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who it is either.
Anyways,
But anyway,
should we try this beer?
that was a slight tangent. So let's get back to the beer and stop talking about Walter Matthau.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about Walter Matthau more if you really want, but I think we should just try the beer.
Yeah, let's give it a shot. All right, and of course, as we always say on American Brews and Tunes,
Shibbity-poo-doo! Down the Walter Matthau hatch. Not too tart.
Huh.
It's got a little tartness that lingers at the very end, but all in all, it's not as tart as a tart ale would lead you to believe.
Well,
There's
it's not
definitely
a
a lot
sour
of
ale. It's just a tart ale.
True.
So it's pretty good.
Yeah, there's definitely some interesting esters in here.
Yeah, for sure.
I do taste the coriander. I suppose I taste the raspberry. Definitely a fruitiness I get from it, which would have to be the raspberries.
Yes.
Obviously.
I'm getting a lot of the slight tartness. I'm getting that. I'm getting raspberries for sure. I almost want to say that if you were to bite into an actual raspberry, it would be more tart than this beer.
I think it would be, for sure.
Which is kind of interesting.
Maybe the spices they added kind of toned it down.
Kind of balanced it out a little bit.
Yeah.
I think so. Ooh, on the back end of my palate, I am definitely getting the coriander.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely getting that herbaliness and earthiness.
Did you
which
know
is
that there's
quite
usually
nice, actually.
coriander in hot dogs?
Are you for real?
I'm for real.
Like Oscar Mayer?
Like any hot dog, I guess.
Ballpark Franks?
Like it's a typical hot dog flavor. Or
Really?
yeah.
Is that why you don't like hot dogs?
No, because I like coriander. It's just the taste of hot dogs. I don't like
Interesting.
bologna either. I think bologna tastes
Really?
like hot. Yeah, bologna tastes
Oh.
like hot dogs.
I love me a bologna and mayo sandwich, man.
Do
Oof.
you think bologna tastes like hot dogs?
I mean, it does have the same texture.
It's the same thing. Just
Just a bunch of meats
they
ground
took a
up
hot,
and
they took a
thrown
hot
together.
dog and they made it huge and they sliced it.
So what they did is they take each individual hot dog at the bologna factory
They grind it up.
and they just put it in, those vertical presses.
Yep,
And they
like
just,
a big
they,
sausage press.
Yeah, they stand the
But a
hot dog
massive
up
one.
vertically like this, and then just
Gross.
crush it down.
Bologna.
And it naturally forms this nice ring of very tasty ground up meat that doesn't really taste that great, but for some reason it does.
I'll take a bratwurst, but not a hot dog.
You know, like how people really like Velveeta cheese?
It's
I'm not a big fan of Velveeta.
I'm not either. I don't
But, like,
dislike
some
it, but I
people-
don't choose it. Some people love
Some
it.
people love Velveeta,
It's not real
even
cheese,
though it's
though.
not actually cheese. It's literally not cheese.
It's weird.
Anyway, I feel like it's probably the same way with bologna. Some people really like it, and others are
guess.
just like, that's disgusting.
I think it's disgusting.
Now, the one thing about Boxcar Racer is that I think everybody loves it. Boxcar Racer, right?
I agree.
If
Maybe
you like
not
Tom
Mark
DeLonge.
Hoppus.
Mark
Mark
sings on
Hoppus.
one song.
He does, but I think he was salty about this. Kind of like the pink Himalayan salt that they put in this beer.
Yeah. Really? Okay, so, well, let me say a few things, and then I'm going to ask you because you know way more about Blink-182 than I do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this is a solo project that Tom DeLonge did with Travis Barker, and then, I can't remember his first name, but Kennedy played bass.
David Kennedy.
Kennedy.
Who went on to join Angels and Airwaves.
Yes. They formed in 2001, technically, but this album came out in 2002.
Wait, did you say David Kennedy played bass?
I think he played bass.
He was a guitarist.
He played guitar, and then someone else played bass.
Tom played the bass.
Really?
I think they got someone to do touring, but he
he
recorded all the bass stuff himself.
in the music video for "I Feel So,"
There's somebody
he plays
there,
guitar. Yeah, someone else is there to play bass.
but he recorded everything.
He recorded bass though. Interesting.
They recruited someone for the video and for his live tour.
Okay, cool.
Weird, huh?
Anyway, this album is Tom wanting to do something different than Blink-182 was at the time,
Yeah.
which this is before the untitled album of Blink-182.
Mm-hmm.
And it's after Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Take Off Your Pants and Jacket generally is more like pop punk.
They did, other than if you take out the rock show and First Date, that album did go slightly darker than
Slightly, yeah.
Enema of the State.
Well, yeah, definitely, because that album has like songs like "Stay Together for the Kids."
Yeah, and they tried to go play with dynamics and some weird things
Yeah,
and try to take a little bit more. I think he wanted to have a little bit of a more like post-punk influence. And
yeah,
people who are serious about post-punk may snicker at that, but that's just what they were going for.
yeah. So I don't know if Tom was just like, I really want to do this, so screw it. I'm just gonna form this side project and kind of go a little bit more post-punk and go a little bit darker, a little bit heavier, a little bit less focused on the
Themes
pop
that Blink
punk
does.
elements that they had done before.
And he had after a tour, I think he had some back issues and had to get some surgery, so he wrote a bunch of songs while he was recovering
Oh, okay.
by himself.
But anyway, yeah. So there was drama about this, right?
Yes, he didn't want this to be a Blink album.
Yeah.
And
wanted it
Mark
to be-
Mark had offered to like write stuff and be a part of it, and
Yeah.
Tom's like, I kind of want it to be my own thing. But then he enlisted Travis,
Oh.
so Mark felt left out, and it was
Interesting.
a source of tension that still probably continues to this day.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
the touchiness.
Interesting. I can kind of see why. I guess Tom, because like this Wikipedia had said like this was like definitely a precursor to Angels and Airwaves,
Yeah,
to like him
But
doing
it's-
his own thing.
it's also definitely a precursor to Blink-182's Untitled album.
Yes, definitely. I can see why Mark would be upset, but I can also see why Tom would just be like, well, I kind of want to write these songs myself, and because I'm sure Mark would try to write songs as well for it.
Yeah,
So I can see both sides.
yeah, they should just be the grown-ups that they are and move on.
Yeah.
Just forget this all, move on.
Yeah. We'll get to that later.
Okay.
But anyway, I had never heard this album before you recommended it to me. So I didn't exactly know what to expect, but I assumed that I would get a similar vocal style from Tom as Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, like that type of vocals.
And it is in that wheelhouse.
Yeah, you definitely do. So let's just start off with track number 1. It's called I Feel So.
Ooh.
And I definitely recommend this song. It is a fantastic album opener. It shows you that like really heavy kind of post-punk guitars where they're like really like low and chunky, and
I think he did some baritone guitar stuff on this album.
that would make sense.
Yeah.
Or at least drop D maybe.
Yeah, perhaps.
But yeah, this is a fantastic album opener. You still get like the really anthemic Tom DeLonge choruses that you have in Blink. But it's a little bit not like this song specifically is not like about like a girl or something like that.
Yeah.
It's about a lot of like mental stuff.
Yeah.
Like a lot of mental anxiety
anguish and angst
about the way that you are and how you wish you were different. So he feels so
mad.
Feels so mad. I feel so mad. I feel so angry.
Feel so
Callous. So lost, confused again. But it's such a catchy song. It
really is.
Just a great way to open the album.
I love that intro they do. It starts off on the piano and then the guitar comes in with those little dyads.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do 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 do.
And then when the music comes in, it's big.
Yeah, it's really big, really booming.
Really wanted to play with. So he said, really wanted to play with dynamics on this album.
Yeah, and I think he definitely succeeds on that. Although it is a very I guess like one-dimensional look at dynamics, like either loud or soft.
Yeah.
You know, like he definitely succeeds in quote unquote playing with dynamics.
Yeah, quote unquote.
So yeah, I like that song a lot. Definitely worth checking out. Track number 2 is called All Systems Go. And this is where you get into a lot of political stuff that is on this album.
Did you mention when this album came out?
2002. So it
a
came
lot of
out,
it was written
right
after
2001.
September 11th.
Yeah, after 9/11 in 2001. So this song specifically, he talks about how the government's lying and how the youth, they won't believe him. So he never directly says like the government is lying about 9/11.
Yeah.
And it was only to get people on board about the war in Iraq.
But I think
But you can probably assume
there,
that he's implying that.
Very catchy chorus.
Yeah, because if you don't know, Tom DeLonge is very into conspiracy theories.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Maybe a lot of it. I don't know.
Who knows?
With
all the stuff that's coming out now about how the government's acknowledging certain things that Tom DeLonge believes in, it's interesting.
Maybe he's got more to it than we know. Who knows?
Who knows, man? Only time will tell. But yeah, that song's very good. It's not bad at all.
Definitely not bad.
The whole album is kind of like this.
Yeah.
Where it's like, all right, yeah, it's a Tom DeLonge melody, it's a Tom DeLonge, like catchy chorus, and you can definitely like jam along to it, and like I can't find super huge faults with it because like I do like all the songs. There is a little bit more diversity on the album, which we'll get to later.
Yes.
Not in the next song though. Track number 3 is called "Watch the World." Really cool drums in this song.
Kind of like doing that snare beat.
Yeah.
Something weird on the snare.
Yep.
Yeah. I would assume that he probably just kind of gave Travis free rein doing something different.
It seems like he probably did. I would assume he did anyway. I really like the themes of this album. I mean, of this song.
Is it kind of like almost apocalyptic in this song?
It's almost like apocalyptic, but it's hopeful as well.
Yeah.
So like he talks about
you talk about Langley, Virginia.
Yeah, he talks about I saw the Fed. He talks about the Fed getting rid of all their secrets and
the power grew or something like that.
Yeah, but he also talks about like the world ending and whatnot. But he also he has like a positive outlook about it, where he says I saw this box get rid of heartache and cure cancer too. And then he talks about how he awoke from a dream and sat there hoping that this is what we'll do. And then he says, like, we'll write this song in a letter to you and send it every day and like try to do all these things that we want to do to a better life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a really I guess like existential song in a way.
Yeah. I remember when I was a much younger version of myself that didn't like songs that weren't punk songs.
Yeah.
This was the one that I would skip.
This is the one you're like, meh.
Yeah. I love it now, but like back when I took my Walkman CD player on the school bus.
Yeah, you'd be like, you push the big button that has the right arrow on it.
Yeah. Like, good try, Tom.
Yeah.
Not today.
This isn't Blink-182.
Yeah.
Skip.
But I should have really just listened.
Yeah. But I mean, as you get older, you learn.
I think they bring back the energy in the next song.
Yes, definitely. Which is called Tiny Voices.
This is a good,
really
different
good
one.
song. Yeah. Tiny voices. Da, 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 da.
Like this one's got some good dynamic stuff.
Yeah, definitely. As to what this song is about, I guess it could be interpreted many different ways.
Yeah, it's very vague.
It could be he has tiny voices in his head,
Mm-hmm.
making him feel anxious or something like that, or unsure of what to do, or it can be probably a song about the government in a way.
What about that bridge is kind of real different, where it gets kind of almost like Muzak, like elevator music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it kind of like fades out and it's like, use your voices. It's real like soft.
Use your voices.
And then the elevator music comes back.
Yeah.
Really an odd bridge.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
But in classic Tom DeLonge and Blink-182 fashion, I don't think there are any bridges that have words on this album.
Well, that one's technically words, but for the
True.
most part,
But not
you're
like
right.
put to like a melody.
Yeah.
It's typically instrumental bridges, which
Tom likes.
is my one gripe with the songwriting.
Yeah.
But it's not the end of the world, though.
No.
It's not that big of a deal. On track number 5, which I really like, and it's also a departure from the general songwriting on this album, because Tim Armstrong comes in and sings on it. Track number 5 is called Cat Like Thief.
There's also a third singer.
Yeah, the guy from the Newfound Glory.
Yeah, Jordan Pundik.
Yeah.
If you don't, even if you do listen, it's really hard to tell because he's got a similar nasally, like bratty voice.
Yeah.
It's very similar to Tom DeLonge's, and he just sings in the chorus.
Yeah.
And it really blends in with Tom. It's hard to tell.
Definitely.
But you can tell when Tim Armstrong
You
sings.
can definitely tell when Tim Armstrong
His voice
sings.
doesn't blend into anybody's voice.
Haven't got in, not the same. Gonna serve them the same. Get up, say, yo, make it clear.
Yo.
Get up, say, yeah, there one out there. 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3, 4 by 4. Let's do some more.
It's classic Tim Armstrong.
Yeah.
I was surprised that he was on this.
Well, the first time I heard it too, I was like, why is Tim Armstrong singing right now?
I think that was Travis's connection because him and Travis play in Transplants together.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's got to
that
be
makes sense.
the connection.
If you don't know who Tim Armstrong is, he played in Operation Ivy, and he also is the co-frontman in the band Rancid.
Yes.
So he definitely has a very unique voice. He's compared to Joe Strummer
A lot, yeah.
And if you don't know who Joe Strummer is, he's the guy from The Clash,
Exactly.
the punk band from the 70s, late 60s, 70s. Anyway,
70s.
back to the song Cat Like Thief. I guess this is one of the first times where you hear a common melodic theme in this album, where he really elongates melodic lines.
In the chorus?
Yeah.
You
Don't leave.
babe. Don't leave her. Or leave her.
Yeah.
Whatever he says. He
Yeah.
really stretches those out.
Yeah, he does that quite a bit in a few of these verses and choruses in the album. As far as I can tell, this song is about struggling in a relationship. Because he talks about how she's a cat-like thief who stole air from his lungs.
Yeah.
So
Cheesy, but gets the point across.
I really like that song. So on to track number 6. It's called And I.
Ooh.
This is a song that definitely has classic Tom DeLonge melodies in it.
This might be the pop punkiest song.
Yeah,
If
definitely.
I had to pick one.
Yeah. Still has the same type of like heavier guitars, but it's more light in terms of the melodic content.
I'd say it's similar to the last song. It's got a unique drum beat
Definitely.
to it. Travis
Definitely.
really writes some out there stuff on this album that sounds really good.
Yeah, a lot of playing with, like the conventional like hits on 1 and 3. Like he definitely plays a lot with where the accents are.
Syncopations and accents.
Yeah.
He changes things up on here.
Yeah, but I think he does a fantastic job on this album, as usual,
Travis Barker.
as per usual. Definitely one of the best drummers ever, or of our time anyway.
Yeah, agreed.
And this is another song about a relationship that's struggling and kind of wanting to make it work, or hoping that it does work.
Mm-hmm. I like in the bridge when it's got those pan guitars. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a good bridge, even
Yeah.
though there's no lyrics.
Anyway, on to track number 7, which is called Letters to God.
Ooh.
This is not about, I don't know, it's not really about a relationship, but it's more of like an existential thought or like outlook on life. Kind of thinking about how he would like to go back and like redo things that he's done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I think the song is super catchy. It's one of the it's really kind of laid back in a way. Like it starts off with acoustic guitar.
The first 2/3 of the song.
Yeah, the
just
first
acoustic
2/3,
guitar and vocals.
are really laid back and really kind of quiet, and then it really opens up.
Yeah, it
Like
does.
it goes from like a volume of like 10 to a volume of like 80,
Mm-hmm.
and like, or I guess maybe 82.
You can tell it's not. This is a heavily produced album, but it's not overly compressed here because they get that loudness comes in pretty nicely.
Yes, and the loudness continues on the next track number 8, which is the shortest track in the song and the shortest track in the album, and definitely the outlier of the album.
Yep.
It's called My First Punk Song.
This song is really. It's a fun song, but I'm not sure it belongs on this album. I don't know why it's here.
It's really funny. So it's like, it's just super fast, really aggressive, like really quick, fast singing.
What's he saying? Like, what's he talking about? It's like stream of conscious, I'd say.
Yeah, he like talks about how like why are some punk people so like political and they don't even go to school to see if they're right. They're blah blah blah. And then he says some weird stuff about
Drugs and weird sex stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what he's going on about there.
and how he yells at the end of some verses that he doesn't have a wiener.
Yeah, I think
It's really
I
weird.
think it's a reference to an STD.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it's
But
weird.
the end of the song was just him yelling, "I've got no."
It's so weird. And is he singing through like a weird filter?
Definitely a weird filter.
They're trying to
yeah.
make him sound like he's on a megaphone or something.
Yeah, like a megaphone or like on the radio or something. It's not quite as like weird as like No Effects to Decline.
Yeah,
Whenever they do that one verse, but it's definitely through some sort of filter.
it's a little fuzzy sounding,
yeah, and it's just like whoa.
but it's super fast and it's punky.
Yeah, from hearing like my first listen through, I got to this song and I was like, what the heck?
Yeah,
I was not expecting this.
I like it, but I'm not necessarily sure that it belongs here.
Yeah, it is good though.
Yeah.
Track number 9 is called Sorrow. It's another song about a relationship, and the narrator of the song, whether or not that's Tom DeLonge or someone else, is pretty much asking for forgiveness. And this is another song where the drums are very syncopated, kind of like it almost feels offbeat, and in the outro, like he changes between multiple time signatures in the outro, which I think is pretty cool.
It's not what you expect from Tom DeLonge.
Definitely
Maybe
not.
Travis had that influence. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm guessing it was probably Travis. He probably wanted to
Do something
do
interesting.
something different. Yeah. Because, I mean, I can imagine, like, the conversation being, hey, Travis, come play drums, and, like, you can do whatever you want. So Travis is probably like, all right, I'm going to take some liberties
Yeah.
and, like, do some
Something
more
that'll
interesting
be
stuff.
fun to play at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Track number 10 is called There Is. And this is another great example of how Tom can take, like, really simple melody choices, really simple chord choices, and just, like, make a super catchy, engaging song.
Like a 3 or 4 chord song
Yeah.
on an acoustic guitar.
Mm-hmm.
but full band nonetheless.
Yeah. It's another song about a relationship and how it's almost like about nostalgia and kind of like remembering old times in your relationship.
Care if I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom DeLonge.
Another fantastic song.
I've seen Angels and Airwaves play this song before.
Oh, really?
Live. Yeah. I've never seen Boxcar Racer, but I've seen Angels and Airwaves, and they still play this one.
Well, yeah, they only went on one tour, right?
Yeah.
In 2003?
Something like
Or
that.
2002? Anyway, another fantastic song.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Track number 11 is called The End With You. And this song is interesting because it almost seems like he's singing about either his end or like the end within a relationship or a collective end of like the world.
This is one that
Basically.
goes dun 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 dun. I've been all pinched up. Oh, not that one. How's it go? Dun, dun. If you go, then we will. Faster than the something.
Yeah, I think that's
But
it.
the guitar is dun 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 dun. It's got big guitar parts.
Maybe it will be forgotten.
Oh yeah.
When the world falls apart or when the world is torn apart. So like he talks about that type of stuff, and I don't know, I guess just like, I mean, that's something that probably everybody thinks about every now and again.
I'd say so.
Like what's going to happen not only when you individually die, but if eventually the world, goes to crap, and like what's going to happen after that, So that's he probably is thinking about aliens in that
Yep.
in that context. But anyway, on to probably the heaviest song on the album in terms of subject matter. Track number 12 is called Elevator.
Yeah.
And I also recommend this song because I think it's a fantastic song. This is a song that Mark sings on as well. Mark Hoppus sings on this song, but this song is about 9/11.
Yes, it is.
And it's sang from two perspectives. Tom sings the first perspective, and he talks about a guy who is in the World Trade Center at the time of the
9/11.
terrorist attack.
Yeah.
And how he is, like, essentially, I think he's falling. Like, he jumped out of the
He's
building.
a jumper, yeah.
Yeah.
And they had pictures of the jumpers on newspapers.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And he is talking about how the concrete doesn't look like soft enough to break his fall, and
Yeah.
like he has this sun across this nighttime scene. And then Mark sings the next verse where it's from the perspective of someone on the ground already, looking up at the guy who's jumping.
Yeah. Pretty intense.
Yeah, it really is. Whenever you get down to the subject matter of the song, but then they both have the same collective thought or conclusion at the end that they both want to forget and move on.
Yeah.
So for the guy who's jumping, he wants to move on to whatever's next after he dies, and forget about the crap that he's already gone through. So it's a pretty heavy subject matter.
Not musically though.
Not musically, it's very simple, and I really like that because I think it definitely captures
Message.
the message. Yeah.
I always interpreted the end to be like Tom commenting on the public's readiness to forget about 9/11 and move on.
That definitely could be.
Could be. Who knows exactly what he means? He knows.
That definitely could be. Yeah.
That's what I think.
But yeah, that's a fantastic song.
It is.
I kind of consider that the end of the album, even though there's one more track.
It should be.
There's an instrumental track, basically.
Yeah. I don't know why the instrumental's there.
Who knows?
I'm not a big fan of instrumentals in general.
Yeah, it brings back some of the themes heard throughout the album, like instrumentally, obviously. But I mean, I could definitely do without it. Overall, this is a great album. I'll probably come back to it every now and again.
Yeah,
and listen to it.
It's worth revisiting.
Yeah, for sure.
I was gonna sneeze.
Okay. There it is.
It was tucked in there somewhere.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that the album as a whole is good.
Agreed.
I definitely...
A couple missteps here and there, but not enough to derail the entirety of it.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the album. I suppose at the time, it would have been very interesting to hear this album in 2002 when it came out.
It did really well because, I mean, Blink was insanely huge. Take Off Your Pants and Jacket was their first #1 album, so they were riding on the coattails of that.
Yeah, this I think it topped at number 12 on the Billboard 200.
Which is pretty darn good.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Back in the early 2000s when people bought a ton of CDs.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Good stuff. And you can definitely hear how this is a middle ground between Take Off Your Pants and Jacket and the Untitled album.
Yeah, definitely a precursor in a way.
Yeah. Any new thoughts about the beer?
No.
Fair enough. I think it's been pretty consistent.
Yeah, it's definitely consistent. It still tastes good. Still has that slight tartness to it.
My only complaint is that I'm not on a porch in a rocking chair. Because this really would be good for that.
Not in the blazing sun.
Well, I guess I don't want to be in the blazing sun, but in a nice evening, warm evening, this would be a good one to have.
For sure.
Not necessarily on the morning.
Yeah.
Unless you really want it. I don't judge too much.
No, yeah, it's a good beer. It's a solid beer.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I'm looking forwards to next week. We will be reaching our 100th episode.
Oh, yeah.
For our 100th episode, we are going to retouch upon the 5 albums that we enjoyed the most that we've been recommended. So Jesse will have his top 5, I'll have my top 5, and
I'm just gonna have my 5.
know.
I didn't order them at all.
Doesn't mine are ordered because I'm picky.
Yeah.
But we'll see what you have.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try to order them. We'll see.
Do what you want. Just don't do it around me. Just kidding. Bad religion reference.
Yes.
Anyways, let's
do what you want, but don't do it around me.
Idleness and dissipation breed apathy.
Yeah.
Big words.
Bad religion. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us for episode 99, where we talk about Tom DeLonge and whatnot.
Let's have this beer first.
Yeah, we will.
Good beer. Check it out. Troegs. If you're ever in Hershey, PA, go to the brewery. If you're ever in the northeastern area, I'm sure you can find Troegs beer. Good stuff.
Yeah.
As you always say in American Brews and Tunes,
shibbity-people-doo!
Down the long and winding road. Very refreshing.
As I was saying earlier, thanks for joining us for episode 99.
Once again, my name is Stephen Johnson.
And my name is Jesse Titus.
And this is American Brews and Tunes. Ooh. I don't know if that'll come.
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity-beeby-da.